Welcome back. It is 7:22. That's right, 7:22 a.m. Daylight savings time began today, and Connecticut author Frances Gilbert is joining us today. She has published several children's books, 8 in fact. She writes to be read aloud, and she believes that rhythm, proximity, and voice are the key when reading to your young children. And in To Know the Sea, Gilbert creates a fantasy of fulfillment for every little princess who wants to find her own way. Now I'm being joined by Frances Gilbert, so thank you for joining us this morning. And tell me more about why you think it's important to read with your children, read to your children.
Well, I think language is so important. It just underlies everything, and there's an internal rhythm that everybody has. It's in the classics, it's in Shakespeare, it's in the Bible, it's in every religious book that there is. And that, I always say, language binds emotion, and emotion binds meaning. So when you're reading to a child in close proximity, and you're almost personalizing it because, you know, this little girl has a tantrum. I have a granddaughter who has tantrums sometimes, so I would pause and say, you know, tantrum, do we behave like that? You personalize it, you bind that emotion to meaning, and that's so important.
Okay, so it's a way to bond with your children,
you bind
with grandchildren.
Yes.
All right, terrific. All right, so would you mind reading a couple pages of the book for us?
I would love to read. I like to read. Okay, this is a little princess who has a lot of problems. So high in a faraway mountain kingdom, there was trouble. Isola, the littlest princess, was having a tantrum. She flounced and she stamped. She screamed and she wailed. She wouldn't clean her room. She wouldn't eat her veggies. She refused to wear her tiara. There was consternation throughout the court. The king took to his bed. "You handle it, my dear," he said. The distraught queen rushed around the palace asking for advice, while the princess shrieked and flailed. "There's no doing anything with her," said the queen. "Send her to bed," hissed her 6 sisters. "Bread and water for a week," murmured the court ladies.
Okay. I'd like to ask you a couple more questions. This story is about a little girl. She might be a little bit spoiled, but where does it go from there? Does she kind of find her way, or
Well, they say send her to bed, bread and water for a week, but then one old granny says to them, ask her what she wants, and she says, I want to know the sea. And she's stuck in this high mountain kingdom. She's restricted in her royal role. She doesn't like it. She's also the youngest of 6 sisters, so she's desperate to get away. And they say, nobody's ever been to the sea. That's ridiculous, rubbish. You can't go there. Consider your royal role. And they try to bring the sea to her. So it follows that classic structure, that classic story structure. Princess in trouble, bring the 3 young men. In this book, the 3 young men are useless. Somebody else comes, another hero, quite a different kind of person, an old sailor. And then instead of, you have a problem, you have a solution, and then it can't happen magically overnight. You have to work for your solution. So she has to work through understanding the sea and the tides and the stars and the moon and the suns and the whole mechanics of the sea before she can actually go to sea. But she does go to sea in the end.
Yeah, we can see a picture right here of her taking that voyage. Yeah. And your daughter does the illustrations?
No, this is Rhett Ransom Pennell did the illustrations.
Okay. You have worked with your daughter, encouraged you to start writing, correct?
She did the first 2 books, and she said to me, Mother, you know, if you're going to write, keep going.
Why do you want little girls to read this book? Why do you think it would be great for them to read this book?
Because I think little girls need to find their way. Even today, when we're all modern and emancipated, these little girls still need to step out from that role sometimes of being a little girl and know that nothing is impossible, and you can do whatever you want, but you have to work for it.
Absolutely.
You can't. All my books have some kind of, you have to work for it, you have to work it through. It's not going to land in your lap. And the princes are useless. Don't expect a prince to come.
That's right. Thank you so much, Frances Gilbert, for joining us this morning. For more, you can log on to our website, WTNH.com, and click on Good Morning Connecticut, and